Good morning, happy Monday. We are here at Monday and the time change, and the time change always messes with me. I have got to I'll tell you probably in tomorrow's video. I think I'm going to keep this one very what I eat in a day, not much chatter, and then tomorrow we'll chat a little bit more because I'll have to tell you about my weekend or my Sunday after the time change. Anyway, so for my coffee, my protein coffee. So I'll pop that up here, what I had for my protein coffee. I've been doing that while I get ready for work after I do my workout. I've just been reading a lot of things about getting protein in, like within the first hour of you waking. And I just been enjoying my coffee while I get ready for work. So let me tell you about my workouts this morning. So I am feeling so proud of myself for this. I took Friday off as a rest day, and I think that was just what I needed. And I have been drinking my creatine and my Motivate Burn first thing in the morning. And I do know I have read a lot about creatine possibly being why, well, I was thinking that was the reason why I was possibly gaining weight. However, I really dived into a lot of research this weekend, and I found that it said that you should not have a weight gain with creatine if you skip the loading phase, which I didn't even know there was a loading phase. So apparently the loading phase is when you drink like 25 to 30 grams of the creatine, and I don't know for what time period, and it's just to get your body, your muscles and stuff really loaded with the creatine. But because I'm not a bodybuilder and I'm just doing it to help my muscles, help with muscle recovery and help with the muscle pain, and I've read that it's very good for women over 40 and over 50 when they're in perimenopause. So because of that, I'm just doing I think my serving of the creatine I have is 3 grams, which 3 to 5 grams they say is what you take after you do the loading phase. But again, I'm not a bodybuilder. So from what I read, the 3 to 5 grams a day will not cause a weight gain necessarily. Like it could in the first couple of weeks, but then after that, like it said, it really should not cause any weight gain, because yes, it is holding it in your muscles, but because I'm drinking so little of it, that it shouldn't. So I think it's just plain old menopause that is causing this weight gain, because I have been doing so well, you guys. So my workouts this morning, I did since I got up fairly early, I did a 15-minute warm-up on my cycle. And I do the highest resistance on my cycle, and it's just an indoor cycle. And I do that for 15 minutes, and it's just a nice warm-up. Then I did a 15-minute, I'll put the 2 videos I did down below. I obviously can't do the video of the cycle because I just did a cycling. So I'll do the 2 videos down below that I did. So I did a 15-minute arm and ab workout. That's what it was, arm and ab workout. And then after that, I did a 10-minute morning energy boost workout, which is really kind of a lot of like what I would imagine be really slow, intentional yoga type moves, but not like crazy yoga. Like it's just a lot of stretching, and it feels so good, you guys. So good. So that's what I did for my workouts this morning. So really a total of 30-40 minutes, which is so frustrating because my watch and my phone don't connect really well with the workout, so it doesn't actually show all the workouts I did. Well, I think on a workout app it should show, because I do use my app. So I'll have to look at that and see if it actually did the 3 separate workouts, because it should show 40 minutes. I don't know. We'll see what that did. But anyway, I will pop those up here. No, I'll pop them down below, the workouts that I did. And lastly, before I go in and start my work day, my breakfast this morning, I think I took a little picture of it, is the apple pie overnight oats. So right after this, I will show you how I made those, and that is my breakfast, and we will go in for the rest of the day. I do have a meat stick and a Built Bar for snacks today, which I will probably eat both of those at some point today. And but I will show you throughout the day what I have to eat. Okay, time to start the work day. To make the apple pie overnight oats, first we're going to do our apples. So we need some apple pie seasoning, 2 tablespoons of sugar-free maple syrup, and then 1 apple all chopped up, whatever size you want. And I made mine a little chunky because I like my apple. I like the bigger apples. So we're just going to put this in a pan, and we're going to go ahead and add in our apple pie spice. As usual, I don't really measure that. So we're going to go ahead and go ahead and get that going, and we're going to cook that until it's nice and soft. I cooked it for probably about 10 minutes. I would say kind of on a lower, at first I did it on a higher setting just to kind of get it nice and heated up, and then I just kind of put it on about 3 or 4 on my stovetop, and I just let it soften up and get nice and juicy. And then while that was cooking, I went ahead and worked on the oats part of the recipe. So for the oats, for just one oat, so this is for a single recipe, half of a cup of whatever kind of oats you want to use, quick oats, rolled oats, whatever you want to use, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of sugar-free syrup, a half a cup of whatever kind of milk you want. I like to use the Fairlife milk to get that extra protein in there. And then you want to go ahead and mix that up a little bit, and then we're going to add in some yogurt. Now, typically you only want to do about a 1/4 cup of yogurt if you want just a regular consistency of overnight oats. However, I used the full container because I wanted, again, that extra protein, a little bit extra calories to keep me full. Sometimes oats don't really keep me full, so this just gives me a little bit extra calories to keep me full, so extra protein, and it makes it really super creamy. But again, if you want just that really kind of more consistency of overnight oats without it being super thick, just use a 1/4 cup of yogurt. And I'm going to go ahead and pour that in a jar, and I'm going to do that a second time because I'm going to make 2 of these, so I have 2 of them this week. And then once I let the filling, so the filling I did let it cook up. You can see that, look how nice and brown those are, so good. And I topped them off on top of my overnight oats, put them in the refrigerator, and these were fantastic. So you can see these have almost 30 grams of protein in them, and these are so good. So I don't think I told you guys what my lunch was, but I'm going to go ahead and show it to you right after this. But I had the beef and rice bowl, so I'm going to pop in the recipe right here, right now after this. So I had that for lunch, and then right now I'm going to go ahead and have a Built Bar. This is the mint chip. It's about 3:30, so I have an hour left of work, so I'm going to have this, and then we're going to go home and have dinner. These Korean beef and rice bowls were so easy to make. So I'm starting off with the 93.7 grass-fed ground beef, and we have some onions here. One thing I forgot to add to this was garlic, so add your minced garlic. We're going to need some soy sauce, so a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. We're making the sauce to go on there. 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. I'm using the Swerve brown sugar, so the sugar-free, like brown sugar replacement. 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And sesame oil, don't leave that out, and some red pepper flakes. Now it's at about a 1/2 teaspoon. Now red pepper flakes are super spicy, so if you don't want super spicy, maybe leave these out or just add a little bit. And go ahead and give this a nice little stir. But we're gonna go ahead and cook up our ground beef. Oh, I already started my ground beef. I forgot to show you guys that. So I cooked my ground beef with my onions, and again, add minced garlic. I did forget that. And you can add ginger. I'm not a ginger fan, so I don't do ginger. And then the sauce on top after your ground beef is all cooked through. Just go ahead and add the sauce. Now I have some brown rice here. You can also use like cauliflower rice if you want to keep it lower carb. I just went with the brown rice. I added in a 1/3 of the meat serving. So instead of doing 4 servings for the ground beef, I did 3 servings. So I could again have that little bit extra protein. I'm adding in about a tablespoon of this chili garlic sauce, which I absolutely love this stuff. It is a little bit spicy, but not like super spicy. And then the recipe called for cucumbers. I don't know, maybe that's a Korean thing. I don't know. But it was good in this. I did pull the cucumbers out before I heated this up when I had this for lunch, because it just kind of like made me kind of icky to heat up cucumbers. I don't know, something about that did not sound very good. So I did pull the cucumbers out before I heated the bowl up, but then I did eat the cucumbers along with the bowl. I just didn't mix it up in there. But anyway, this turned out really well. Topped it with some green onions, topped it with some black sesame seeds. This is actually a Skinny Taste recipe. It was in one of my Skinny Taste cookbooks. However, I did find it on her website, so I will have it linked down below. And here are my Korean beef and rice bowls. You can see 46 grams of protein or 45 grams of protein because I only did a 1/3 of the ground beef. So good. For dinner tonight, we're going to have chicken tortilla soup. I don't really know what the difference is between this and like a chicken taco soup, honestly. It does use fajita seasoning. So I have about 20 ounces of chicken thighs in there. And then I'm adding in a full packet of fajita seasoning. I'm adding in smoked paprika because I feel like it should be in almost every soup and stew because I love smoked paprika. So I added that in there. Adding a can of diced green chilies. This is just a small can. And then we are going to add in a full can of corn. I did drain and rinse the corn. And I do try to use no salt added on all of my canned stuff so I can control the salt. So you can see I'm using no salt added corn, no salt added black beans. And again, I did drain and rinse those. A can of Rotel tomatoes. I do prefer the original or hot Rotel, but they didn't have any, so I just stick with the mild. A can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. And make sure they're fire roasted because y'all, that makes it the best. 4 cups of chicken stock. As I always say, try to use chicken stock whenever you can in place of chicken broth because look at that. Look how dark. You see the difference in the color? So good. So adding in that full carton because I needed 4 cups. And then you're just going to give this a good stir. And because I have so much chicken in there, I went ahead and put this on high for 4 hours. And then what I ended up doing was I just kind of took a couple forks and I just shredded up the chicken. Instead of taking the chicken all the way, because it was so tender, I didn't have to take it out and shred it up. I just shredded it up within the pot itself. But yes, high for 4 hours. And what I do is I top it with the tortilla strips. Honestly, like, is there any tortilla soup with tortillas in it? I tried finding that, but that's a little side note. I topped mine with cilantro, some avocados, and the tortilla strips. And this was my dinner for tonight. It was so good, you guys. And here are my totals for today. So I had 1,560 calories, 149 grams of protein, 131 carbs, and 25 Weight Watcher points. Today was a fantastic day of eating, and I hope you guys enjoyed these easy fall recipes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.